Hey everyone, this is Tony LeBron and welcome to The Sunshine Story, an Upliftv exclusive program. Upliftv has created the Upliftv Foundation in order to fund new programs like this one, inspirational movies, miniseries, ministries, and so much more. On today's program, we are featuring Don Larson. Don is a former executive of the Hershey Company, and he is currently the CEO and founder of the Sunshine Nut Company in Mozambique, Africa. Don is doing an amazing work in Mozambique, where he's working with widows and orphans, revitalizing the amazing community of Mozambique. He's appeared on many TV programs like PBS and QVC, and today on Upliftv. Welcome, Don.
Thanks. It's great to be here, Tony.
So, Don, you're in Mozambique, Africa.
I am.
Yes, but before you were in Mozambique, you were in the United States in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. You were an executive with Hershey's. Tell us the story.
Okay, well, it was a great career. I had been with Hershey's for 13 years, and not long after, I quit Hershey's and actually built a very large cocoa processing factory. And at the end of that, it was a 2-year thing. The cocoa processing factory was sold off, and I surrendered to the Lord after that. I didn't want to continue on in the food industry. That surrender, I thought I was going to become a pastor, and God had other plans. Instead of becoming a pastor, He wanted me to go back into the food industry, but to serve the poorest people in the world.
Right, but going back to Pennsylvania, while you lived there,
yeah.
You were living well, you had a Porsche, you had a hot air balloon.
Right.
So when you say the word surrender,
right.
You really had to live surrender.
That's correct.
Tell us about the answering to that call.
Yeah, well, you know, in my surrender time, I actually went down to a hotel room in the middle of winter, drew the drapes at the Jersey Shore, and I told God, I've had the best first half of my life. I was 44 years old at the time. And I had everything I wanted. I had the greatest jobs. I worked for the best company in the world, and could have gone back there and actually had some good job offers. I had a job offer waiting at another very good food company.
And that's right after you resigned Hershey and you made this decision to surrender, then another opportunity came.
Right, after I was the acting CEO of a company that started up at $100 million and was selling chocolate to Hershey, actually.
Okay.
And that was sold to the largest chocolate maker in the world out of Switzerland. And that gave me an opportunity to really decide what I wanted to do. And that was the surrender that I did. He had been calling me for probably about 15 years. Since I became a Christian, I felt this nagging. And I really wanted to do something different in life and to help the poor and the orphaned. Okay,
so you're living this great life in the United States.
That's right.
You have a hot air balloon, you're Porsche, you've climbed up the corporate ladder, and God's call to surrender everything, to sell everything.
Yeah.
What did you tell your wife, and how did she respond?
Well, it took my wife a trip to Africa for her to really understand what we were doing. You know, she was teaching at a very good school in the Philadelphia area, a private Christian school, one of the best in the country. And my children were going there. We had a very nice lifestyle. But when she got over to Mozambique and saw the people there, and God touched her heart there, she actually couldn't wait to move. So I have a very supportive wife. She's an amazing woman.
Yeah. Your children were in school.
My children
were
in school.
So how did you handle that transition?
Yeah, so my daughter was at Gordon College, so she was continuing on in college. My son was going to be a senior in high school at that Christian school. And he decided to stay there for his last year. Okay. He spent the year in U.S. while we went on to Mozambique, and then he joined us after he graduated for a year, took a gap year. But my youngest 13-year-old son, he didn't have a choice. And we pulled him out from a very, he was on the soccer team, he played in a band, he had all his friends, and he went into a completely different environment.
And said, son, you're going to Africa.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was not happy.
Right.
But he has changed into an amazing young man that has a heart for, he is currently in documentary photography, wanting to be a war photographer, to reach, people that are refugees and document their plight.
Amazing. Why Mozambique?
Well, Mozambique was the third poorest nation in the world at the time, so there's devastating poverty in Mozambique. But they were #1 in cashews back in the 60s and 70s. Okay. And They had a civil war. They actually had independence in the 70s and a civil war for 15 years. And there was a lot of bank policies, international bank policies, that were put in place that kind of decimated the whole cashew industry. So I figured this is a good place for me to bring in a branded product with a made in Mozambique emblem on it. So we were in a completely different environment, a completely different language, and a very poor, there wasn't opportunity. And so starting up the factory in a place where most people said it can't be done, there's been so many failures all across Africa, it took some perseverance.
Yes, there was a robbery?
Yeah, we had a robbery. We've had a couple. But,
yeah, we had a robbery.
But this one, we bring in teams because part of our calling is to let people experience kind of the things that we're doing. And so from that Christian school, we would bring in high school teams. And we had a high school team there, and we were refueling the cars after the end of the day, and people must have wanted those cars, even though they were 20 years old. So I had gone home, and my wife stayed with the high schoolers. And on our return, when they came into the yard, two men rushed the gates. One had an AK-47.
Wow.
And they pushed my son around. Then they started heading towards my wife. She started to scream for me. And I was in bed with headset on. So my other son, who was there at the time, he came into my bedroom and said, "Dad, there's someone outside with Mom." And then I could hear the screaming. So I grabbed my nunchucks in one hand and a stun gun. And I went running down the hallway and out the front door, only to be greeted by the one man with the AK-47. And he was not too much further than you,
with
pointing
an
it at my
AK-47,
head and yelling profanities. And so I dropped all my weapons. And he proceeded to take me in the house, push me all around. The gun barrel was jabbing me the whole time, and he was wanting to find the keys, wanted me to find the keys to the cars that he would eventually steal. I couldn't find them. He started to count down. He got frustrated. He was counting down to the end of my life. Get to zero, I'm going to shoot you. And he got pretty far down, and I yelled out. I couldn't find the keys, so I yelled out to my wife, "Terry, where are the car keys? Where are the car keys?" And she yells back. She's being held on the driveway with my other two sons by the other man hostage. She yells out, "Don, I tell you all the time to put your keys in one spot because someday you're going to really need them and you're not going to be able to find them."
But she says that all while the guy has the AK-47.
Yeah. And so I'm like, that's not much help to me right now. And so he got to zero, you know, and I looked at him. He looked back at me, and fortunately he started to count again. And that's when I found the keys.
Amazing.
And off he went. And, it was an experience that a week later, I'll have to say, a week later I was coming home. We immediately moved into a more secure house. And a week later I was coming back from the factory to have lunch with my wife, Terry, because I want to make sure she was okay. And I asked God, I'm like, "God, why did that happen?"
Did you have that time of question? Did I make a mistake? I can go back to the United States where there aren't people with AK-47 stealing cars. Did those thoughts come in your mind?
That's a good segue into when I asked God. It's one of these things where when you have a thought that's not anything that you're thinking, you can kind of feel good that's probably God. And I was thinking, why'd you make this happen? And I got, Don, you never once talked about quitting. You never talked about going home. In fact, you got more galvanized, and I'm so proud of you.
Amazing.
What I got
that God spoke to you.
Yeah. And so I was like, wow, that's right. I said, I'm here. And if I have to die to do this, that's, I did a TED Talk, and I titled the TED, I've done a couple TED Talks, and I titled the TED Talk, "Find an idea that you're willing to die for, and then start to really live."
Amazing.
And that's
find an idea that you're willing to die for, and then
start to really live.
And then start to really live. That's a fantastic quote.
Because when you found something that you feel so convicted for, then life really takes on a different meaning.
Amazing. When we come back, we'll talk about why Mozambique and how the Sunshine Nut Company works.
It's possible to create a premium food product and transform lives and communities at the same time. We're doing it every day with cashews here in Mozambique. I'm Don Larson, founder and CEO of the Sunshine Nut Company.
And I'm Terri Larson, Director of Social Impact.
A cashew deteriorates from the moment that it's taken out of its shell. Most cashews, they sit around for 3 to 6 months unroasted, getting stale. We roast within 3 weeks because we're right here in Africa where they're grown. I came to Africa in 2004 as the director of cocoa operations for the Hershey Company. I was one of the largest cocoa buyers in the world and was surprised at the extreme poverty of the African farming communities. So many international companies benefit from the resources of Africa while the people of Africa remain in poverty. In 2011, we sold everything and moved to Mozambique to create the Sunshine Nut Company. The Sunshine approach is a sustainable business model that brings lasting transformation. We buy our cashews right here among the Mozambican farming communities at fair prices. We roast and package in-country, and we hire young men and women, most of whom were abandoned and orphaned in their youth, to run our factories. We sell our cashews at competitive prices in major retail stores, and then 90% of our profits go back to the poor and orphaned.
30% to uplift cashew farming communities, like providing medical training and planting new cashew trees to give families an income. 30% goes to the care of orphans and vulnerable children. There are a lot of broken families in Mozambique. Our Sunshine Houses pair loving widows with orphan children to create new family units.
The remaining 30% is invested into new Sunshine companies to transform communities across the continent.
We do the most amazing cashews, but it's much beyond that. It's like what we can do for our workers and what our workers, they were also orphans, most of them, and what they can do to impact other kids.
Hello, I'm Don Larson, CEO and founder of the Sunshine Nut Company. I'm excited about our partnership with Upliftv and the Upliftv Foundation. They're helping us with our needs to do more in Africa and to provide financial help for the widows and orphans. I also want to encourage you to support Upliftv so they can produce more inspirational TV shows like this, along with more movies and documentaries that will impact the world for Christ.
For your donation of $50, you'll receive a thank you gift that includes 4 packages of Sunshine Nut Cashews, featuring a different flavor in each package. Flavors include perfectly plain, spark of spices, handful of herbs, and sprinkling of salt. For your donation of $100, you'll receive a thank you gift that includes 8 packages of Sunshine Nut Cashews with 2 packages of each of the 4 flavors. Your donation will not only help Upliftv to continue to bring you more inspirational movies and ministries, but will also help support the Sunshine Nut Company to continue helping the widows and orphans of Mozambique. To receive your Sunshine Nut Cashews, you can donate online at upliftoffer.com or call our toll-free number 844-7-UPLIFT. That's 844-787-5438. Donate online today at upliftoffer.com or call 844-7-UPLIFT. That's 844-7-UPLIFT.
So the Sunshine Nut Company was birthed. You found that thing to die for, and you are living. And so the Sunshine Nut Company, amazing company that's doing incredible work in Mozambique. And the Sunshine approach is the business model that you use. Tell us about the Sunshine approach.
Yeah, so this is something that I developed in that intimacy time.
In that year and a half, with the long beard, and
that's correct. I didn't grow a beard. I can't grow a beard. So I was out, and once God made it clear, it actually became so clear. I heard, build food factory in third world nations to bring lasting economic transformation, and to name it Sunshine, believe it or not.
Okay.
So in an act of obedience, it was actually something I really didn't want to do. But when faced with something like that, you go forward. I built out the model, and
explain the Sunshine model.
Yeah, so the
Sunshine approach.
Yeah, it's when I did this, I did a lot of it in a coffee shop. Okay. And it was a fair trade coffee shop, and I looked at people buying chocolate bars, and they bought chocolate bars that tasted like wax, but they were $5. Okay. All in order to do good. Right. And so the premise was to make world-class food products that tasted great, were extremely fresh because they were at source country, but then to give a lot of that proceeds back. Okay. So we give 90% of our profits back to
great
the
quality,
the
world-class products, and give them back.
That's correct. Yeah. And to deal with the smallholder farmers. Okay. Yeah.
To work with the local farmers.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah, because the emphasis here is to provide a market for the poorest people in the world.
So many of your employees are the locals,
Right?
Local farmers, and there's something 30% working with orphans, right?
Right.
So Sunshine Homes.
Yeah. So we have.
Tell us about that.
So we were well off into dealing and giving our time and resources to established orphanages. And in usual fashion, we got a call from one of our employees saying there are 3 kids out on the street. So it was 3 young children, Cecilia, all brothers and sisters. Cecilia was 12 at the time, Madalena was 6, and Antonia was 3. Their father had died in an auto accident. Their mother then was so distraught that she took her own life.
Wow.
But before she did that, she sent the kids out for bread. They came back and they found her.
Okay.
And then the landlords came and kicked them out of the house. So they were out on the street, and we met them. They were just distraught. And my wife and I quickly raised funds. We purchased them a house, and we put the house in their name, and we found a caretaker for them. And we've established a family, and that has gone so well.
Amazing.
You know,
and
now,
the caretaker, is she a widow?
Yeah, so now the basic premise of a Sunshine House is to take widows and orphans, like James 1:27, to care for the widows and orphans in their distress, and to put them together into a family unit.
And amazing. So in Mozambique, there's a high percentage of widows, right?
That's correct.
And a high percentage of orphan children.
10% of the population of Mozambique is orphaned.
So how amazing that you're bringing these 2 populations, very high number of populations, bringing them together in one home and creating a family.
Yeah, and we're now on our 3rd Sunshine House.
So you're working with orphans, and then your company, the Sunshine Net Company, employs locals, and for you have 50 that you employ at the roasting, and then out of that creates 1,000 employees that shell the cashews, and then that creates 50,000 jobs for harvesters, or for farmers. So incredible. So total, you're creating over 50,000 jobs in Mozambique through the Sunshine Nut Company and cashews.
That's
so
correct.
Can we talk about cashews?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a little example.
I do.
Explain.
All right, so most people do not realize that a cashew is grown on an apple tree.
Okay.
And it's a cashew apple tree. But the apple is a solid piece. It's very tasty. It's very nutritious for you.
And on every cashew apple, there's a cashew at the bottom.
Right.
Like I would see a seed in the middle. So there's not a seed in the middle of that apple.
No, there's not.
The seed's at the bottom.
There is.
Okay.
And
so one cashew per apple.
That's correct. And on the bottom of the cashew apple is the single seed.
Okay.
The apples fall to the ground, and then you snap the cashew in its hard shell off of the tree. So the 50,000 farmers grow, and we buy those cashews. Actually, the shelling companies buy those cashews off the farmers. And those cashew shelling companies then have to get this cashew out of its shell. Okay. And that's where 1,000 employees are employed to steam these and shear them, and then take out the cashew kernel. And that's
a process.
Cashew.
Yeah, a single cashew.
That's a process, all right.
After they're steamed and after they're shelled, the next step
then
is...
they come down to our factory.
Okay.
And what differentiates us from the rest of the industry, well, I'm going to say most of my competitors, is most of them get their cashews shelled in India or Vietnam. Okay. And it's a separate industry. They are then put into plastic. They go onto a ship eventually, and that ship then comes to America. Once you get a cashew out of its shell, that's when it starts to deteriorate and get stale. Okay. The fact that we are right down the road, once it's shelled, it comes down, and we put it in a package that's a foil package. It's a premium package. Amazing. But our cashews are fresh and crunchy, and they're differentiated in the market.
And so the process from the cashew coming off the tree to the roasting to the bag to the United States.
It's about 2 weeks till it gets in the bag.
2 weeks to get in the bag.
That is the important part. Okay. Because once it's in this bag, it retains the freshness because it's a foil and we have nitrogen flushing as well. Our cashews have a 2-year shelf life. I'm eating the stuff. We're required to keep a production sample every day of our production until the shelf life is done. Right. So I get the stuff coming off at 2 years, and they're still fresh. Amazing. So, and that's what, we're in a lot of retailers around the U.S. Yeah. And about 3,000 now. It's been a miraculous thing. But the nut buyers, one, they're saying, Don, you've ruined me. cashew's my favorite nut. And now I never knew what a cashew tasted like until you showed me. Now I can't eat the other cashews.
Amazing.
And so that's that freshness and crunchiness. That's a competitive advantage in a place that we're trying to do good with the product.
When we come back, we'll talk about the future of the Sunshine Nut Company and the impact that the company is having in Mozambique. Stay tuned right here on Uplift TV.
Hello, I'm Don Larson, CEO and founder of the Sunshine Nut Company. I'm excited about our partnership with Upliftv and the Upliftv Foundation. They're helping us with our needs to do more in Africa and to provide financial help for the widows and orphans. I also want to encourage you to support Upliftv so they can produce more inspirational TV shows like this, along with more movies and documentaries that will impact the world for Christ.
For your donation of $50, you'll receive a thank you gift that includes 4 packages of Sunshine Nut Cashews, featuring a different flavor in each package. Flavors include perfectly plain, spark of spices, handful of herbs, and sprinkling of salt. For your donation of $100, you'll receive a thank you gift that includes 8 packages of Sunshine Nut Cashews with 2 packages of each of the 4 flavors. Your donation will not only help Uplift TV to continue to bring you more inspirational movies and ministries, but will also help support the Sunshine Nut Company to continue helping the widows and orphans of Mozambique. To receive your Sunshine Nut Cashews, you can donate online at upliftoffer.com or call our toll-free number 844-7-UPLIFT. That's 844-787-5438. Donate online today at upliftoffer.com or call 844-7-UPLIFT. That's 844-7-UPLIFT.
When I think of your story, beginning in Pennsylvania and up at the corporate ladder, so successful, you sell everything to the unknown of Mozambique, to start this amazing cashew company, to employ thousands and thousands of people in Mozambique. It's a testament to God's goodness, to His faithfulness, and when you're obedient, what He can do. Tell us about the impact that you're having in the community. I believe you told me the story of a young man. Tell me about that impact.
Well, our employees, one of the other emphasis of the Sunshine Approach business model is to hire mostly young men and women who were either abandoned and orphaned in their youth. So I went to my job fairs have been largely centered around the orphanages of the children who have grown up and are now on their own. So I had a job fair at one of the local orphanages, and a lot of young men and women over the age of 20 who had made it through school came back, and I hired a number of them at one orphanage, a larger one. And his name was Benario. He started up with us, like everyone else, and he quickly started to. I noticed that he was the first when lunch. How
old is Benario?
Benario is probably about 25 now.
25, okay.
Yeah.
When he started, he was 20.
Yeah, he was 21, 22.
Okay.
So Benario quickly raised up and got himself noticed. He was very ambitious, very punctual. He was always there. He always ran back into the building when the lunch was over. So I said, Benario, I got him in my office. I sat him down. I started to tell him all the good things that he was doing and that I'd like to promote him to a lead position to kind of oversee things. And he started to cry. He put his head down. He's crying. I'm like, Benario, are you okay? What's the matter? And he looked up and he said, no one has ever said anything good to me in my life. Benario, when he was younger, his father died, and then his mother disappeared. She went in for the hospital for an operation, and no one could find her.
Wow.
So he's not sure if she died or whether she abandoned him or what.
Left, which is a common story.
Right, a very common story. And so he was forced to live with his grandparents, and he said his grandfather beat him up every day.
Wow.
To the point that he finally ran away and lived out on the streets.
Wow.
And he tells a story that he was being mentored by one of the worst criminals in the city who's still there. And he said it wasn't good, but he had to survive. And so eventually a woman came along and asked him if he'd like to stay at her orphanage, of which he gladly accepted, and that was where I met him. He had been a worship leader, kind of hanging around. There's very few opportunities in Mozambique. It's very, very limited.
So he got introduced into the Sunshine Nut Company.
That's correct.
And
yeah.
now
he's great. Now he's been promoted to supervisor, and then now he's a production manager. So he runs the factory. He's got a new house, got a beautiful wife. He's got 2 children now. He is really living a great life, and he's very, very happy. Amazing,
all because of the Sunshine Nut Company and your obedience to the call. This journey started in 2011.
It did.
If you could go back to 2011, have a 1-minute conversation with the Don Larson of 2011, what advice would you give him? What would you say? Yeah,
I wasn't certain what would happen and what I would live and how it would be, and it's been a remarkable ride. I thought I had the abundant life, of material possessions and just success, and I was like, I thought I was giving all that up, but God has given me a new definition of abundance.
Would you say that you're living in an abundant life today?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been so rewarding, so full of joy.
You say you're homeless, you go from house to house, you rent.
Yeah, when I come back.
You're in Mozambique.
Everyone laughs because I come back, I live out of a suitcase. And in order to save money, I stay on couches, I stay in spare bedrooms.
But you have an abundant life.
I do, and it's been very, very rewarding.
Amazing.
And what I would say to people is, it's not material possessions. I was lucky because I hit the top of my career, that it would only go from there on, but I realized that wasn't it, and I was disillusioned, I was unfulfilled, and luckily and thankfully I listened to God, despite what many considered to be an outrageous and silly and very inappropriate thing to do, to sell off everything and move to Africa.
Amazing.
But I would tell people to follow those clues you're getting for God, because it will turn out to be something more abundant than what you can imagine.
It will turn out to be something more abundant than you can imagine. Don, thank you for the work that you're doing in Mozambique, and you're changing so many lives across the country and across the world. The Sunshine Nut Company cashews. If you haven't tasted these cashews, be sure and get a bag of Sunshine Nut Company cashews.
Hello, I'm Don Larson, CEO and founder of the Sunshine Nut Company. I'm excited about our partnership with Upliftv and the Upliftv Foundation. They are helping us with our needs to do more in Africa and to provide financial help for the widows and orphans. I also want to encourage you to support Upliftv so they can produce more inspirational TV shows like this, along with more movies and documentaries that will impact the world for Christ.
For your donation of $50, you'll receive a thank you gift that includes 4 packages of Sunshine Nut Cashews, featuring a different flavor in each package. Flavors include perfectly plain, spark of spices, handful of herbs, and sprinkling of salt. For your donation of $100, you'll receive a thank you gift that includes 8 packages of Sunshine Nut Cashews with 2 packages of each of the 4 flavors. Your donation will not only help Upliftv to continue to bring you more inspirational movies and ministries, but will also help support the Sunshine Nut Company to continue helping the widows and orphans of Mozambique. To receive your Sunshine Nut Cashews, you can donate online at upliftoffer.com or call our toll-free number 844-7-UPLIFT. That's 844-787-5438. Donate online today at upliftoffer.com or call 844-7-UPLIFT. That's 844-7-UPLIFT.